be the network to be in for conscious female entrepreneurs.
Hello, gorgeous human beings, and welcome to the We Are Alpha Femme exclusive sales training, Sales Savoir Faire. I am so excited to lead this for you. I'm so happy. This is such an important conversation. I feel like it's coming at the perfect time. And everyone's energy buzzing about this. The messages I've been receiving, the comments, all the things have definitely created a very good energy in my sacral energy. I'm like, sing, 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 sing. So very excited that you're here. Let me just open the camera and see who's with us in real time. Oh my goodness. Hello, Michaela is here. Hello, Mel, Ina, Anna, Manuel. Hello, Odessa. 10, Anna, Liz is here, Battery is here, faces I know, Genevieve, Paula, Heidi, Sarah Lee, hello, hello, Hannah, Rita, hey, so good to see you, Isabel, hello, Elena, Lara, Tracy, Aliana, Tandy, Lisa, happy to see you. Michelle, so happy to see you. New AFEs are here. Hello, Dr. Liana, so good to see you. Maria, Nicola, hi. Carla, Michelle, Jess, I love you. Hannah, hello. Agus, Jennifer, NLF iPhone, whoever you are, hello, gorgeous. Thank you for being here. Amelia, Marita, Dr. Hunt, hello, hello. Marion, Martini, I love your name so much. When I welcomed you, I was like, this is the best name. I love your name. Amanda, Cheryl, hello. Kienle, hello. Carla, Catherine, Crystal, Olabisi, oh my goodness. And then, oh my gosh, there's another page. Catherine, Crystal, thank you. Jackie, I'm so happy to see everybody. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And I love when you come on camera. It's just such a great thing to get to see your energy and to see your faces. So before we get started on all this, Carlene, I'm so happy you're here. So good to see you. I've got some familiar faces here, people who have been in my world for a long time. I also am seeing some new faces. So I'm just grateful to have you here in my world, whether you've been here for a while or whether you're new to my space. Thank you for being here. This training, I feel, is a very, very important conversation, and one that I've rarely had an opportunity to lead outside of a program or a big offer. And so I think it's important sometimes to be able to anchor in what I believe about sales for my context and my work, for people to understand me a little better, and so I can support you, and so we can all just continue to make beautiful money on the internet, because I think that's a great thing for us all to do. So the first thing I want to talk about before I kick off on this, before I start, I would like to just ground the energy. And the reason I want to do this is because sales and money, they have something in common. They're able to kind of uproot people. There's a difference between being excited about something and being ungrounded about something. And I want you to find your balance. Now, when you find your balance in sales, after that, you can find your mindset and you can find your processes, and you can try different strategies. But before anything else, in order to be, in my opinion, in order to be successful in sales, you've got to find your groundedness, which is your mix between like your root and your sacral power and your excitement and your like joy and your elation and your, I'm so excited, like the identity of being happy and excited and loving what you're doing. There's like this high up here, and we want to have this buzz, but we want it to be grounded at the same time. So I want you first to have the experience, before we ground you, of allowing yourself to really be happy to be here. This is an awesome opportunity. You're going to learn more about your business. There's more money available to you from this transformation, from these sales conversations, from these discussions. You can get excited for you, for your clients, for your customers, for your product to be seen by more people, for your service to be purchased by more people. Like, you can let yourself get into that. Like, yes, I'm excited, my business. Yes. Let that come up for you. And as that's up, I also want you to really experience yourself sitting in your chair where you are and feel your butt real sturdy on your chair, and really feel yourself grounded. Like, you are here. You're not being swayed into la la land with this conversation. This is a real business conversation about your business, your money, your clients, your financial well-being. This matters. It's a mature conversation about money. Like, you're both. But I want you to feel this groundedness, because without the groundedness, you can just get swayed in all kinds of directions. And my intention for you in this conversation is to give you a lot of value around selling, so that when we're complete here, you can go and start selling with a very different energy, enjoy what you're doing in your own way, in your own energy, not in mine, because I have my unique duality, my unique groundedness versus excitement. It's not supposed to look exactly like mine or feel exactly like mine. And so in order for you to be able to continue your journey outside of this container selling, I want you to be listening to the entire training within your own groundedness. So really sturdy and with your own level of excitement and joy for being here both at the same time. Just all the things all at once. Duality within your own body. Okay. Now, sales is a super important conversation for business. It's so important that we talk about this, because there's so many different opinions about selling. And I think one of our biggest problems as entrepreneurs is we don't know what the right amount of selling is. We don't know exactly what the right way of selling is. How is it going to be perceived? And a lot of our paralyzed feeling comes from perception. What are people going to think? What are people going to feel? So if you have ever stopped yourself from selling something that you know is valuable to the world because you were afraid that someone would find you salesy, pushy, or annoying, if that's ever happened, raise your hand if you've ever felt that way in your life. Okay. So this is our biggest duality. Now, the outside world of entrepreneurship has a hard time understanding entrepreneurship. And as a world, we have issues with not everybody understanding what we stand for. The world is separated in so many different topics. Entrepreneurship, traditional jobs is one of those very polarizing topics. Should you work for someone? Should you start your own business? Now, we understand the traditional world a lot more than the traditional world understands us. And what I mean by that is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the odds that you would be, sitting with your family on a Saturday afternoon, and one of the members of your family would say, okay, I've got to go get ready because I start my shift at 3 o'clock, and that you would say to them, you're going to leave this family get together to go to your job? Do you not care about your family? You are so about the money. Oh my God. You're going to leave your family on a Saturday night to go to work. Wow. I guess you don't care about us at all. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being for sure, I would say that. 1 being there's no way on earth I would ever say that to a person. Where do we position ourselves here? On a scale of 1 to 10, what are the odds that you would say that to a person? Like, never in a million years. Why? Because you understand that people have to work. So you wouldn't just shame them for the way they work. That just doesn't make sense. You might still feel like, I wish that you had your own schedule. Maybe I could teach you. You might have those thoughts in your mind, but you wouldn't just make them feel like a complete nuisance for getting up and going to work. People that don't understand entrepreneurship, when they see selling, they don't understand this is our job. A lot of times it feels like, oh, you're selling again, but it's like, if you calculated the amount of times you spend selling with the amount of times they spend going to work or being at work, we're working a fraction. It's just that there's just not the same understanding. So whenever someone's uncomfortable with you selling, it's because they don't understand that this is your job. And if you stop selling because someone else is uncomfortable with you selling, it's because you don't understand that this is your job. And so the most important thing about this training is that regardless of who doesn't understand this is your job, you understand that this is your job. And with emotional maturity and all the emotional maturity, emotional intelligence that you can muster, when someone says, oh my God, you're selling again, you can say, yes, it's my job. Not to hurt them, just because it's the truth, just like not like one of those vindictive, but just like, yes, I'm selling again because it's my job. This is where I work. Now, a lot of people use social media only as a social media platform, but that doesn't mean there isn't a whole other world of business that occurs on social media. Some people have to get with the times. If they haven't gotten with the times yet, you may bother them sometimes. That's something we need to deal with on the journey to entrepreneurship. But what helps us really navigate that is the understanding of the value we provide. And so for those of you who are in the currency course with me right now, you're going to be like, ding, 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 we're working on this, right? So the idea is we've really got to understand how valuable we are, because if not, every time we sell and we fear we're a nuisance, it invalidates our value. I don't want to bug you. I forget how valuable my work is, so then I should just not sell. So the whole thing just gets canceled. It gets canceled out. So it is important that we constantly remember how valuable our work is on the planet. And our work is different than us as a person. You are a valuable human being, even if you're posting cat videos on the internet. That doesn't have anything to do with your value, but your business being valuable, that is different. What is the business valuation? Like, what is your business worth? If you don't sell anything, business isn't worth much. So what we're talking about in sales is basically the currency of money when it comes to selling. So it's a very different thing to personal value. Now we're talking about selling, but it doesn't mean that sometimes it doesn't kind of infiltrate. What I find happens in entrepreneurship is we take our businesses very personally. Like, the thing I'm selling is me. And to a certain extent, that's true. But there's a big middle ground that we're not very adequate at. And it's the part where our company or our product, even though it's based on our energetics, our ideas, our passions, our execution, it's not us. It's something we've created. But like, if you burn a muffin, your value in life doesn't plummet to the ground. If you screw up a sales launch, your value doesn't plummet to the ground. And we need to do a lot of inner work when it comes to our own personal value in order for sales not to become just a performative thing you do to try to get validation, because it is for a lot of people. If I'm feeling not good about myself, but then a sale comes in, now I feel good about myself. And so I'm mixing up two problems in my life, the problem that I don't feel good enough and the problem that people aren't buying my stuff. Ideally, we want to isolate those things. And so when we're talking about our worth as a person and our value as a person, conversations like currency are where it's at. When we're talking about our business value and how to really portray that value to another person, this is where a sales conversation like this is really valuable. So I want to talk to you about the first experiences that I had in selling my products and how I got myself to really have very no audience whatsoever, but really be able to talk to people about what I did. There was something I did that was I'm noticing Lara drinking out of an Alpha Femme water bottle, and I'm very happy. There's something that we do. There's something that we do at the beginning of our journey when we're not comparing ourselves with other people's value, which is we're just focusing on what it is that we do and how valuable it is to the world. This is before there's much comparison. So can you relate to having started your business being way more focused on your actual business than how other people that were doing the same business as you were doing? Do you remember a time where it was more about your actual profession than how well other people were doing? Do you remember that time in your business? You could kind of focus more on you than what everybody else was doing. This is why you chose this profession. We choose a profession because we see the value of it on the planet. That's why we choose it. We forget the value when we see other people do it seemingly better. But the value in what we wanted to do in the first place, we see that way before we start comparing ourselves. The first time you thought to yourself, I'd love to sell this particular product, or I would love to have a hair salon of my own, or I'd love to have a coaching business, or I'd love to have a social media marketing business, or I'd love to create graphics for people, or I'd love to do this or this on the internet. There was no, and I need to be the best there ever was. That doesn't come in the first thought. At first, it's just like, I want to do this because I think it's a great profession. The need to compare ourselves to other people, that comes later. So for the well-being of this training, I'm going to ask you to try to bring yourself back before the comparison to other people, because the comparison to other people is actually way more about your value as a person, not your business. And we're going to bring you back squeaky clean to why you chose the profession you're in the first place, whatever it is that your profession is. And I want you to remember why you chose this profession specifically. Now, one of the things that's odd with entrepreneurs, and you'll find this, when people ask us what we do, it's like the only job we've ever had where we have a hard time answering that question. Like a person would be like, so what do you do? And like all of a sudden there are no words because I don't know what to say, because I don't know what I should say, because I want you to understand how valuable it is what I'm doing. And also I don't want to burn an opportunity. If it's possible, you might be a client for me, but I don't even know what you need. So how can I even position myself in what I do? Because there's about 25 things I actually do, and it depends on the client, but I'd need to have a consult, which is not what this is. And the minute I tell you what I do, if it's not what you needed, I just burned you as a client. So let me just try to invent what I think you want me to hear, or actually try to say everything that I do in one sentence, which is not going to work. You asked me this question 17 minutes ago, and I'm still thinking about it. So we're weird. This is the other reason why people are like, never trust an entrepreneur. They can't even tell you what they do for a living. Like, why are we so weird? And the reason we're weird is because a lot of us are multi-talented. Our job is not just a job that everybody knows about. Like if you are a plumber in life and you tell someone I'm a plumber, they know that your job is not just to fix the leaky faucet in the kitchen. Your job can be so many things because people know the profession. They just know that it comes with all kinds of different things. But because people don't know the scope of your profession, when it's time to explain what you do, you feel like you want to give them all of your juju in one conversation. But you don't know how to do that. So you're trying to like figure out what they would want you to say, and you don't know how to do that either. So the whole thing just jams at the doorway of your mouth, like it doesn't work. So what we want to do is to really relax into the frequency of the reason that we chose this profession. Before we knew how amazing we would be at it and all the different angles that we would have and how great we would be at all of it. And the fact is, when we boil it down to the simplest expression, we chose this profession because we knew it would help people. And we knew how valuable it would be to the people we would help. That's really what it's about. And so what I've found is that the people I enjoy selling to the most are the people who value what I offer. So if I'm in a room of people that don't value coaching, mentorship, business, branding, marketing, advertising, communication, leadership, it's going to be very odd for me to try to sell anything because it's not valuable to anyone in the room. So our first mistake as entrepreneurs is that we don't recognize who we're speaking to before we try to sell what we're selling. And we don't know whether who we're speaking to is a qualified buyer or not, which changes the way we talk about what we do. So my experience at first, and I didn't even realize I was doing it, but I had to question myself when people started asking me, how did you blah, blah, blah in the beginning? I thought about it, and here's what I discovered. I said to people, these are the kinds of people I work with. So if I did not know a person, I wouldn't just tell them what I do. I would meet them in the same frequency we're in. So if you are a mystery to me, and I don't know whether you care about what I do or not, I will present myself as a mystery to you because it's the same currency. So you're a stranger to me, you say, what do you do? I'm going to answer something that's as mysterious as you are to me. And I'll say, I work with people who value, so if I'm speaking of me, for example, I work with people who value their businesses really working. They value money, they value success, they value being successful in business just as much as they value fulfillment, having an incredible life, being super down to earth, loving their family, and having thriving relationships. I work with the people who are like at that junction of value. Now, what happens when I do that is one of two things will happen. Number one, people will say, that's me, in which case I now know I'm speaking to a person who cares about what I'm talking about. Or the person will say, you know who would really love to speak with you? My sister-in-law or my friend. Or the person says, cool, in which case they don't care. Anything I would have said beyond that would have landed like, I don't care. But then I wouldn't have known it was because they didn't care. I would have just thought I did a bad job selling. So what I've really found in my life is that the people who care, I can feel it right away if I don't jump into the sale right away. So in a conversation on a daily basis, because this program is all about how to sell in any social situation, I'm starting with the most awkward social situation. The most awkward social situation is the one where a person asks you what you do, you barely know them. You don't even know if they're going to care about your answer, but you don't want to burn a person right away that could be a client. That's the single most awful, awkward situation ever. But here's what I've really found. When you tell people what you value and who values what you do, people see you not just as an entrepreneur trying to sell something, but as a person with values. And I really believe every relationship on earth is built with people and their values. I value the same thing as you. We don't value the same things. I love that you value that. I also value that. That's interesting that you value that. I don't value that. That's literally how we interact with each other. So when you present this, you're meeting mystery with mystery. You're offering up an opportunity for a person who doesn't know you to really let you know with their facial expression or with their words, whether they care about what you're talking about or not. If you feel from them, whoa, that's really cool, tell me more, you already know that they're interested. If they talk to you about someone else, you keep it cool and you say, I'd love to connect with them. If you want to give them my social media, you give them your social media, then you be quiet. For the rest of that, you ask them what they do and you leave the conversation at that. Don't push anymore. If the person is going to be interested, it's going to be because of a connection you make with them. And if they're not interested, you just saved your whole night. So this has been the thing that I did from the beginning of my journey being a coach. Anytime I spoke to a person who said, what do you do? I would just say, I help people who care about this. And my journey has changed over time. At first, when I was first a life coach and people asked me what I did, I said, I help women who really value the life that they have and want to make the best out of their marriage and their careers and their self-esteem. And they just want to make the best out of what they have right now. And I would have women be like, that is so incredible. How did you get into that? What does that look like? So is it kind of like a life coach? Or then some people would get it wrong. Oh, like a therapist? No, not exactly like a therapist. But if I felt like they cared, I'd talk about it. If they were snooty about it, oh, like a therapist, I'd be like, no. So what do you do? Like I'd close the door. I'm not going to give you the value of my soul when I feel like your door is closed. And in saving that energy, what I did is I only really gave my time, my attention where I felt it was received, and I didn't build a big case study for how people were sick of me. When I was speaking to other people about their experiences being an entrepreneur, their biggest pain was it felt like they were constantly trying to be valued by everybody and trying to get people to care about them without even considering that the thing people didn't care about was not them, but rather every single thing they stood for. If I'm at a conference and someone says to me, I say to them, so what do you do? And they say, I'm an astrophysicist. I'm going to say, cool. Because there's very little else that I'm going to be able to add value to in this conversation. I don't need to hire an astrophysicist. I'm not looking to date an astrophysicist. I'm not trying to connect someone to an astrophysicist. I have very little knowing about the subject. There's a whole room out there. I would rather not waste any of our time. I respect you. That's awesome, but we're done. That should be a very beautiful experience for both of us. You get to tell me what you do. I honor and respect you. But you don't chew my ear off about being an astrophysicist for an hour and a half where I don't understand a word you're saying, wondering what other opportunities I have, and neither one of us ever talk ever again after tonight. So when I say to someone, this is what I do, and they say, cool, they don't care. That's a gift for me. It is so valuable for me to know that within 5 minutes. The people that are going to be your best clients, they're already looking for someone like you. You're going to realize, you're going to tell them what you do. They're going to say, so what do you do? And you say, I work, let's say we think of a plastic surgeon. What do you do? And the plastic surgeon says, I work with women who really value freezing their youth entirely. Like they do not want to age. That's the people I work with. Tell me everything. This is me. Or you say, you know who would love that? My best friend or my sister. Or you go, cool. If you don't care, you don't care. There's no amount of them explaining more. If you don't value that, you already know you don't care. Is that a dig to them and who they are and who they doesn't have to be? It just doesn't interest you. And so we really become exhausted in the selling when we're constantly met by feeling like a nuisance. That's our biggest energetic block. If every time I speak to a person, I feel like they don't really want to listen to me, they don't really want to be there, they don't really want to know, because I haven't set the groundwork properly, I'm going to start to build a story in my head that people don't care about me. And that's not necessarily the truth. Not everybody cares about the thing that you're doing. So make sure when you start talking about it that you're speaking to someone that actually cares. When you speak to someone who does value what you're talking about, they'll say like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I literally just told my friend this morning that I just wish that I could freeze time and keep this face forever. I love the way I look right now. I was awkward my whole life. I finally love my face. I'm terrified of aging. Tell me everything. How do I stop this process right now? I love my face. I want to stay like this forever. Conversation open. The selling process has already begun. If you say, I help people who value their businesses and being successful financially and staying super grounded, being in love and never losing themselves, having a beautiful family life, relationship. Are you kidding me? This is exactly what I need. I feel like I manifested you. This is how effortless sales start to happen in one-on-one discussions. This is the most awkward scenario possible. And this is how I suggest presenting it. You just talk about who you help, what do they value, and you go from there. Now, why is this the most awkward one? Is that you don't know at all if the person that's coming to you is interested. If we move outside of this particular thing, what is a little more realistic is when you meet someone for the first time, someone introduces you. And so inside of a social circle, you already kind of know who someone is. So if a friend of yours is introducing you to another friend and you say, oh my gosh, you're the friend of this, tell me about you, like, tell me about yourself. They'll tell you about themselves. If they're in any way not interesting to you and you don't find what they do valuable, you already know right away to not start talking about your profession. Like, that's not a great mismatch. That's not a great match. Usually the people who are interested in your service are people that you will want to talk to, they're people you want to open the door with. If, however, the energy is good, but what they do doesn't interest you, but you're like, I could still tell them what I do, you do the same thing. What I do is I work with people who value blah, blah, blah. You're going to get the same thing. You're going to get, that's so cool. Tell me more. Or you're going to get, that's cool, which means please don't tell me anymore. I'm hoping I can meet someone else to talk to tonight. Either way, you move on. Now, these are the situations where you're being introduced to a person in real time. And I think we devalue these massively while having online businesses. Some of my biggest sales in my life have occurred in places I never would have thought. I have had people that have become my private clients from sitting next to them at the pool at a hotel, from being in line for too long at Starbucks, for going to someone's networking event or going to a Tony Robbins event or something like that. And I meet a person and we end up talking, and next thing, the year later, I'm their private mentor. Like, I've been through so many different weird scenarios where just in introducing myself in this kind of energy, I've opened the door directly. It requires very little of my energy and we're in. But if we're being very honest, that's not what you came here to learn. What you most were excited about is to know, how do I stop being so stressed about selling online, and how do I sell online? Because most of us have online businesses, but the fact is it's the same mindset work. It's the same thought process, except we have a huge advantage when we're selling on social media. And that advantage is our social media profile. Because your social media profile should be able to tell the world what you value right away. When a person falls on your social media profile, it's the story of what you value and who values your work. It's what you care about, what you think about, how you see the world, what your clients have to say about your work, why they hire you, why they love you, what you talk about with them about. Your entire social media is the weird, awkward conversation before you even have to have it. If someone comes into my world and they have never, they don't understand, they don't care about money whatsoever. They don't care about money. They're going to see my page and they're going to say, I don't like this person right away. And that's okay with me, because the people I work with are people who value financial success and business as much as they value being in an extraordinary relationship and having an incredible life and having all the things. They're both. If I have a person that comes into my life and sees all the luxury posts and the money and the celebrations, but as soon as I talk about my relationship or my family vacation, they're bored, they're also not for me. Because I really want to work with the people who value both. That's where I feel the happiest to serve. Now, is it possible that someone will value business a little bit more and want to care about that a little bit more? Yes. Is it possible that some people will care about lifestyle more, or family or relationships a little bit more? Yes. And people will find themselves in that ratio within my work. Then I've got to learn to sell what I have without shame. And even though you have presented yourself online as someone and people understand who you are, even though you are a business, even though you have a bio that says I am a business, when you go to post a sales post, you still might feel, I don't want people to think that I'm all about money. And I feel like that is the number one fear, is that if I sell too much, people will think all I care about is selling and money and business. So this is what I want to untangle with you today. If a business doesn't care about making money, it's not a business. It's what's it called? Service, community service. It's a charity. It's not a business if it doesn't care at all about making money. So you can't say, I don't care about the money, or I don't do this for the money, because that can't be true if it's a business. It's a hobby, it's a charity. It's definitely not a business, because what a business is something you do that generates you money. So the first thing you've got to get clear about is like, I am in business, and that is a very valuable thing for me and for the world. It's okay that I'm in business. Now, the thing with social media is that you're using social media for marketing, advertising, selling, but you're also using social media for your life, social proof, connecting with your friends and your family. It's not only a business. And this is where things get tangled. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I said to you today, you can choose to use social media only for your business. You're never, ever allowed ever again to post anything that's personal, only business. Or you can only use social media for your personal life, and you can never post about business again. In the depth of your heart, which one would you choose? Would you say, I'm only going to use it for business? I wouldn't even use social media if I didn't have a business. I really don't care. I'm using it for social media. I'm using it for business. Or would you say, what? No, I love social media so much. I'll find another way to market. I really want my friends to be able to see my life. I want them to be able to stay connected with me. I really want them to know, right? So there's two different ways you feel. Either I'll find another way to run my business. I want social media for personal. Or you would say, I would never use social media if I didn't need it for my business. I will happily never use it for personal again, right? And some people here don't do either. It's just word of mouth. And when you do word of mouth, the beautiful thing about that is the people sell for you. You're not even selling, right? So let's see. People would use it for business, 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 business. Business is my life, personal. My business is my social media, and it would be business. I didn't like using it until I started my business. Business, because my lifestyle is freedom. Both mesh so well. Social proof is okay, this is social proof. Business, definitely business, 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 business. So here's the real truth. The real truth is that if you did not really need social media for your business, people would see less of you anyway. You actually show more of you to your friends, your followers, your clients, your aunt, that one high school friend that still follows you. You show more of your life because you're in business. So it's not true that you do this just for the money, but it is true that you use social media for business. If you don't claim that, anytime someone tells you you're doing this just for the money or you're always selling, it's going to feel bad because you're not going to be clear about what your real stance is and you're going to worry it's true. And the fact is, the way that we feel the most manipulated and controlled in this life is when people say things and we fear it could appear true or it could feel true, or maybe it is true. Is it true? Am I a bad person? Do I only care about the money? Am I? So in order to be squeaky clean in sales, what you've got to be clear about is you have an entire life that has nothing to do with social media whatsoever. You have an entire life that has nothing to do with your clients. You have an entire life that has nothing to do with your business. And you also have a business. And it just so happens that that business serves people and that you care about people. And that because you care about people and your business, you utilize social media in a way that shows pieces of your personality to the world. Anybody that doesn't understand that just isn't in business for themselves. There is not one person that is successful in business, utilizing the internet as a business model, that doesn't understand these principles. The only people you're going to have issues with are people who have traditional jobs. And if they get bothered by the fact that you're selling, they're not going to buy from you anyway. So these have to be the first people that you just release. They cannot stop you from selling, or else you're stopping for someone that was never going to sell anyway. It's the energetic equivalent of going into that beautiful room with all the people in it, going to the first person, telling them what you do, and then being like, oh, so basically you're a therapist, and then deciding that the entire room doesn't want to hear you and never saying anything to anybody else. It's a wasted opportunity because the whole world is different and everybody needs something different. And your job is to find the people who value the exact service you provide and feel very confident when you present that service to them. So let's imagine, I'm just kind of curious. I know a lot of people who registered here have a service-based business. Do we have anyone here that has a product-based business that's live with us right now? So what you're selling is a physical product, or is it mostly service that we have in the room right now? Okay, so we have some product. So when you have a product that you're showing, one of the reasons that it feels like maybe you're salesy or you're pushy, and why it feels awkward to show the product, is because it's not about you at all. And so it feels like I keep showing this product and I'm talking about the product instead of me, and people feel disconnected. So the biggest advice I can give you is, when a person is considering buying something, they're always considering to buy something because of how they're going to utilize it, whether it's valuable to them. So if I wanted to sell this makeup, the best way for me to sell this makeup is to do my makeup on camera with it every day. That's the best way for me to sell it. Now, the people who care about makeup and value good makeup will be curious about this product. The people who think, I have a friend that really has been looking for the best powder, let me share this video, will share the video. And the people who don't care about makeup will either not listen to me, or depending on their upbringing, will write something extraordinarily rude in the comment section. Just kind of depends on their vibe. But the fact is, if I don't do a live stream of me putting this makeup on every day, the people who value proof of concept of good makeup cannot find me. But if I just talk about it, this is great. This makeup is great. This makeup is great. I love the case. This makeup is great. It opens up real well. This makeup is great. I love the makeup. This makeup is great. It's beautiful. Pictures of the makeup. You should buy this. This is great. This is great. People will eventually get bored because there's no connection to this. But when I say, Let me show you how this works. Here's why I love it. And you utilize your platform to sell, basically to showcase all the valuable reasons that you love this makeup. People are going to watch you sell, and eventually what will happen is a buyer energy will come forward, and the people who are capable of buying will respond to your selling and will buy. What we don't contemplate is that sales and buying are two different energies, and they've got to like come together in order for the full thing to happen. I can sell all day, every day. If nobody buys, this becomes a very annoying, pointless activity. So I want to sell, and I want to sell so that people buy. This is the intention. If I sell with guilt, shame, resistance, not wanting to be fully committed to what I'm saying, worried about what people are going to think, it doesn't matter that I am doing the physical act of selling. I am not an energetic match for a buyer unless they want to buy with guilt, shame, fear that it's this or the same energetic match as what I'm presenting myself with. Because what we find in life is that humans connect very much on, I'm like you. I want to buy this because I'm like you. I have the same type of skin as you. Like my skin does that weird pore thing yours does, and that works for you. Okay, I want it. You know, I have that really shiny forehead patch you have. It works for you. I want it. I spend a lot of time on camera. You like that? I want it. I'm like that. I don't usually wear makeup, but you like this? I want it. The more people connect with the likeness, the easier it is for people to buy a product. You know, you're funny. I want to buy it. You're fun. I want to buy it. You're sassy. I want to buy it. You're strong. I want to buy it. You're vulnerable. So whatever it is that you are and whatever it is that the product is, as you mesh those two things together, you give people more reasons to connect with you and with your product for them to try on the product. So the biggest key here is to understand what's the value. And I'm selling a physical product. If I tomorrow decided I, Melanie Ann Layer, sell makeup now, this is what I do. What I would have to change my understanding of myself with, or my company with, is it's not just I work with people who value business success and success in their lifestyle and fulfillment in their careers and their relationships and their friends and their family. I would have to say, why am I selling makeup? So I work with people who value the really high quality products on their face and want to look extremely natural when they're applying makeup. That is my style. The people that I do the makeup for, that's what they want. Someone else might say, I sell makeup for people who really value extraordinary high performance makeup that will take them from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed and not have to make one touch up. And someone else might say, you know, I work with people who really value makeup on camera. So they want to be camera ready and they want to learn tips and they want the best possible makeup for being camera ready on the internet. What's the reason you're doing this? Who are you really speaking for? And you create that connection and you do everything you do with this one question in mind. Does me doing what I'm doing right now help people connect with that value? So if I make this post, does this help us connect people to my value, to why I'm in business? Does this video about me just talking about the makeup palette actually connect people to I value natural makeup with the best possible products? No. But if I put it on my face and it looks natural and the whole time I'm doing my makeup, I'm talking about my values, does that connect people? Yes. So you want to ask yourself, are the activities that I'm doing actually connecting people of similar value to me? Because the more the people that are watching you, reading you, connecting with you are of similar value, the easier the offer is going to be. And selling is basically making an offer to a person who wants to buy already the thing that you're offering. When we're salesy and we're pushy, this is where the difference is I am trying to sell something to someone that I know does not value what I'm doing. But I know if I push enough, I can make them feel like they value it during this conversation and I can make them buy it. I don't think any of us actually want to do that. I don't often attract people who like that. They want to attract the people who absolutely love what they offer and are easy, effortless yeses, buy the product, love the product, rave about the product. That's the ideal case scenario. So we don't like selling when we get to the offer part and we're offering and we still don't know whether the people want it or not. That's where it's the most uncomfortable. Now, if a person wants it and can't afford it right now, that's different. But if a person wants it or doesn't want it and you sell it, that's a weird energy. Now, this is when we're talking about a physical product. I utilize the product in the way that I value it. And if I feel like there's so many different ways that I can value my product, I bring on guests. So for example, I would say, I really value this product because I like very light makeup that looks natural. But I want to bring onto my platform a person who values stage makeup and they're going to use the exact same makeup and they're going to nail it. And then that's going to be on my platform for someone that values something else. And then I'm going to bring someone with a completely different skin tone than me, so that people who value having a perfect shade for their skin tone that's not a mainstream skin tone will be able to see that that works for them. And then I'm going to bring someone with sensitive skin and allergies. And then I'm going to bringing case studies that show different values. For a physical product, that's why testimonials are so important in the selling process, is you want to be able to show why you value your product and you want to show why other people value the product. In a lot of cases, when you are really creating a solid social media where people are being able to see what you value firsthand, where every post you make, you really put it through the filter of, does this post really show what I value? Does it bring people who value the same things as me closer to me? And then you make offers to those audiences. This is the easiest way to make sales on the internet. But you've got to have the inner value to actually believe in yourself and to stand in what you're doing is worth something very valuable. And you've got to be willing to put yourself out there and make the offer. And that we get frozen in both places. Now, when you have not a physical product, it actually is even more difficult because it's not about, do people like this? It starts to feel like, do people like this? And what's wrong with me if people don't buy it? Is it that I'm just not cool enough? Is it that I don't know how to talk about my product? Is it that I don't have good enough testimonials? Is it that, what is it? The number one reason people struggle with sales is because they don't fully 100% believe in the value of their stuff. There's a part that's wobbly around whether or not what you offer is valuable. So step one is you've got to detach the value of your company, your product, your service from your own personal value. And ideally, if you care about mindset work and you understand this world, you're going to do both of those work. You're going to work on your personal self, because the more confidence you have, the easier it's going to be for you to do a lot of the things. But you want to build your belief in your industry, your product, and an understanding of why you do what you do in a deeper way. And the number one thing you've got to do is stop looking at how everybody else is doing it, unless you're doing that to learn. So if you say, I'm a teacher on money and I help my clients make their first $1,000 online. But when I see someone that's showing people how to make $20,000 online, I wonder whether I'm good enough or not. Like, why would people hire me to learn how to make 1,000 when there's someone out there showing them how to make 20,000? It's in the comparison that there's an issue. I want to teach people how to be in a long, beautiful, lasting marriage. But this person is showing people how to become the most magnetic thing on the planet. And people are just like freaking out about the branding and they're all over it. Like, should I be more like that? And we lose ourselves because we're not clear on our own value and our own worth for our company and why we're doing what we're doing in the first place. So what I would really look at is there's a real truth that you've got to make peace with, which is, if you thought there was truly a better way for you to deliver your service, do you not think that's what you would have chosen? Like, if there really was, if you should be sassier, bolder, more naked, less vocal, more trendy, more this, more that, if that's what you needed to be, wouldn't that be who you are? Isn't there a reason that you are exactly who you are as you are? And you came into your business knowing and having this belief that this is what you were supposed to do. Where we are fighting to be different than everybody else. In fact, what makes us the most different is when we don't try to do what other people are doing. And we actually trust that our unique expression is needed by certain people. What I found is from the very beginning, what I didn't do was try to do like someone else in case what I was doing was not as good as the other person who was succeeding. Instead, what I always saw is thank goodness for that person for covering what the marketplace needs. And here's thank goodness for me, because here's how I'm different. I loved that I was different, but not different in a way where this other person their company is less valuable. Different in a way where if they already provide this and I provide this, we're covering a lot of ground. No one will be left behind. And I really believe that this service is important on the planet. When we start to do business like that, there's a lot more collaboration available. When we start to do business like that, feeling like we're selling, it's like we're part of an ecosystem. When we look at the economy as a whole, there's an impact every time people start being afraid of selling, and there's an impact every time people are afraid of buying. It impacts all of us. When there's a wave of, I'm afraid to sell because no one will buy, it's like, it's contagious. Everyone's afraid to sell, everyone's afraid to buy, everything's at a standstill. Entrepreneurs are the economy in our own bubble. Like we have our own economy. It's a completely different world, because we're self-made. And so it isn't about someone else is telling us how much we're earning. It's like, it's based on our courage. It's based on our willingness to go when it's difficult. It's based on our strength of character and of our mind and our conviction about our product and how much we're going to love it and know that it's valuable and present it to the world. No one limits us financially except for us. But then we hear about our cousin that's being laid off, and we hear about the difficult times at this person's business, this person's company, and we hear about this and that. It starts to go into our mind, and we're afraid that the people, oh, well, if these sales have gone down there and they've gone down there, maybe they'll go down for me. And I feel bad every time I hear no, so maybe I won't sell. Maybe I'll sell less. I don't want to look pushy. I'll cut my prices. So how we hold the economy is we really stay very confident in what we're doing, and we understand that we have our own economy. I preached this in 2020 when the world started changing a little bit and people were terrified about having online businesses, because I don't know who here had a business in 2020 when things started to go a little nuts and people were losing their jobs. Do you remember when they were telling us like it was in poor taste to talk about online businesses? And they were like, you can't do that. People are losing their jobs. Like, I remember taking such a solid stand for that and being like, no, we can't not talk about our businesses because the brick and mortar businesses are falling, or else everybody falls. And so the online businesses stood, a lot of them stood, some of them were terrified, but a lot of them stood, and we created a secondary economy. And for a lot of people, 2020 was actually an incredible business year. And so was 2021, because we dominated the economy. It was like, well, everybody else is giving up and we're over here thriving. So this is perfect. We're going to be here doing this. And so there are different times in the world. There are times where everybody's got money. Everybody's throwing money all over the place. But you know what? That's not a sustainable thing, because when people have all this money they're throwing everywhere, they don't necessarily value what they're learning, what they're doing, or what they're buying. This is where you see like people have bought so many things on Amazon, but it all is not used. It's still in its boxes and it ends up in the garbage. You want your product to be unopened? You've made more sales than you ever have, but it's unopened and it's in the garbage and nobody ever opened it. That's not what you are in business for. You know, are you proud that you've got X amount of sales, but people don't show up to your programs? They never even opened the email. They bought it, they forgot, they bought 5 other things because they just had the money and they didn't value any of it. What really makes the difference is to understand the laws of value in business, and knowing that sometimes we've got money and we value spending it and feeling free. And other times when money feels different, the things we buy hold more value. This is an extraordinary opportunity for you to speak about the value that you bring to the marketplace. This is the time for that. There's different strategies depending on the economy, depending on people's mindset, depending on why people are buying. Right now, the most important thing that you can do is show the value of your product. This is not just about hype. It's not just about excitement. It's not even just about it being a good idea to buy from you. It's about the value that a person gets. Businesses get better during these times. And the businesses that weren't interested in getting better break, which is good for everybody. Because when there's a lot of money, businesses that aren't all that great survive. And that's not great for any industry. If you're like a terrible hairdresser, a terrible nail artist, you do not care about your clients at all. You never practice. Every client that comes out is kind of a botched job, but you know that everyone is looking to get this done. And even if you mess up, you're going to get another client. Your value is not at its peak. Anybody here did any kind of construction on their house in the last 3 years? Like a pool or a basement or something? Yeah. How did the construction workers treat you while they had all of this extra business and everybody wanted to pay them always? Like, who here did it take much longer to continue to finish the product and it cost more than you ever thought? Like, they had business coming out the wazoo. Like, there are so many people who got frustrated with their people doing their renovations because people just had so many clients. They had so many clients, they were saying yes, even if they couldn't finish the job. And if you gave them any kind of sass, they were like, fine, figure yourself out. They'd leave products unfinished. I don't care about finishing your deck if you're rude to me. I've got 30 people that are on hold. The prices were skyrocketing. It's the supply and demand. The value changed. But what happens to all those businesses that did botched jobs and didn't figure out or finish with their clients when the economy changes? Now they've got a lot of bad reviews and not a lot of referrals. So it's important as entrepreneurs that we learn the laws of ebbs and flows in business because they're designed for different reasons. When you look at your business from a longevity standpoint, what you want is for the product or the service to constantly get better, for the reputation of your company, your brand, your product to constantly get better and sell itself through referrals and word of mouth. You want your pride in your product to be at an ultimate high always. And you want to have times where there's so much business you can't think because it's just good for your soul. But you also want to have moments where, and this happens, where you're like, I just need a minute. I need a minute to think. I need a minute to course correct. I need a minute to better certain systems. I need to think. I need to create. You know, who here during the peak of a certain time in their business thought like, I just feel like if I could just have like a couple of weeks to just think or to readjust, I feel like I could have a better product, but I just don't have time because too many people want to hire me right now. That's not sustainable for longevity, but it is an amazing experience to have. So in order to be extraordinary at sales, you actually have to notice which kind of economy are you in while you're selling. This is a value economy. And value doesn't mean cheap for not expensive. It means valuable. I've been having a lot of conversations because over the last year, I've made a lot of amazing connections with luxury brands, and I care a lot about the luxury approach in business. That's one of the things that I value, having a luxury brand. And so I've been speaking to different people that work for luxury brands, either in jewelry or in fashion, the hotel business, the restaurant industry. And I've asked them what kind of impact have they seen in the recent weeks and months since there's been conversations on the planet of all kinds of crazy things. And so what they shared with me is that the people who have a lot of money, who were either born into money or who just have been generationally rich or have so much that you can barely touch it with a wobbly economy, they have kept buying exactly the same way. Where the shift has happened is the people who they've got to decide where they spend their money. Am I spending it on this or am I spending it on that? And if you really think about it, what is the differentiating factor between I spend on this or I spend on that? What makes me choose this or that? How do I make that decision? Based on what the value is for me. This is more valuable than this to me. What's more valuable, a night at the hotel or a night at an expensive dinner at the restaurant? For some, it's the hotel. For some, it's the restaurant. What's more valuable to me, a trip or this diamond bracelet? The diamond bracelet. The trip. What's more valuable to me? This training or that training? This or that? There's choosing now, and the way people choose is based on the value of the product or service. But this is the time where most entrepreneurs crash and burn because they've built their entire value as a person on the value of their business. And when people aren't choosing them, they think that they're not good enough and their entire mindset crumbles and the whole thing crashes. So this is the time where it's the most important to nurture your audience, whether it's in person or online, to really make sure beforehand that you're speaking to the right people so that you actually have more chances of getting yeses so you don't burn out with a million no's, while also doing the mindset work and separating your own personal value from the value of your work and constantly educating yourself more on the value of your work. It's not just take it for granted. If you don't know how to explain why your work is valuable, this is why you're not selling, period. And if you want to say, I know why my work is valuable, but I'm afraid that I'm not good enough, then you've got to do personal power value. You've got to do identity work. You've got to do the currency program, because this is not about the profession you're in. You're very clear about the profession. Your fear is, what if I'm not good enough? This is a lot of entrepreneurs are going to get tangled into this during this season. And it's frustrating when you see confident people, and it's frustrating when everybody's choosing the same person and it feels like there's something wrong with you. That's like the most important thing in the world is to work on your own personal value. But if you're like, no, Melanie, I've got that. I know my value. I know it's me. I know. I just don't know how to explain. Like, do people even care about this stuff? Sometimes when we're so close to it, we forget the value of certain things. And I've been talking about this in my currency program. Value is one of those things that we can take for granted so easily. And we take it for granted because we have it. We tend to value the things we don't have so much. We put the things we don't have on a pedestal. If I had that, it would be amazing. If I had that, it would be incredible. If I had that, it would be so great. If I had that, right? The people who are in currency are putting the two things together right now, being like, oh, this is so good. So if I had this, then I would this. This is the value of the thing I don't have. Then you get the thing and you're like, well, I have it and it hasn't changed the way I feel. So yeah, I guess that wasn't the valuable thing. I need something else that's going to be valuable. So we tend to chase value all the time. The people who are the most magnetic on the planet are the ones who learn to value what they have, who they are, and what they do now, while continuously adding more value to who they are, to why they do what they do, and to loving what they have. Those are the ones that are the most magnetic. Everybody that can't figure out their own value, doesn't want to be seen as, too proud or too this, and doesn't want to see that they're valuable, is self-deprecating, always makes it about them when something doesn't work, fears their entire industry is going to flop or something's not going to go well in the economy and the mess and this, they're the least magnetic. We need to be grounded. We need to be mature business people and understand that the same laws that apply to all the businesses that have employees that are all the things, they apply to us, except we have this extraordinary thing, which is that we have implemented mindset work, where not all the brick and mortar businesses have done that. This is how we survive this and thrive at this and come out of an economy as leaders, because entrepreneurs tend to be the greatest leaders. I was saying this to my family the other day. I said, what's really cool about what I've built? And I realized this recently, which is odd, but I said, I realized that I could have any job. I don't need a resume. If I show up to a company and I say, this is the amount of people that follow me. This is the way I write, the way I speak, the way I lead. This is the kind of money I'm able to bring in. This is my sales abilities, my leadership abilities. This is what I've done. This is who I am. And I want to bring all that to your company. And the one important thing for me is to make it as successful as mine was. I will get to work for any company I want on the face of the planet, because my personal value is through the freaking roof. I know it. I have no doubt about it whatsoever. And if I value a company enough to want to bring all my personal value to that company, they understand the power of that. I could get a job anywhere. I want that for all of us. I really feel like being an entrepreneur needs to feel like the greatest thing you've ever done. And if it ever stopped, I want you to feel like everything you've built gets to be transferable to the highest paying job you ever could have gotten. It needs to feel like there's an out. It needs to feel like you don't have to do this forever if you don't want to. And it needs to feel like every single thing you do for you is paying you more in the future, no matter what. Whether it's for the business that you're in, or if you take a job later, you are building your life experience, your own personal value beyond what anyone can comprehend. I actually believe in the future, resumes won't matter, personal profiles will. It's going to be like, show me who you are, what you've built, your level of impact and influence, your level of leadership, how well spoken you are, how you're able to move people, what you care about, what your values are, who you are. Show me that, and I'll tell you if you get the job or not. That's going to matter way, way more than I worked for this person for 2 years, and then I did this job for 2 years, and these were my responsibilities. It'll be like, show me your profile, and I'll know what your values are, what you're capable of, how people respond to you, how you deal with conflict, whether you have staying power or not, how much you value your presence, your brand, yourself. I'll know everything in a minute. So we want to build extraordinary value for ourselves while we cultivate extraordinary value for the professions that we have. And when we make an offer, it's got to come from a place of, the thing I'm offering you is the greatest thing of value you could possibly buy. And I'm so confident that I'm a good person to buy this from. You don't need to say, I'm the best. You don't actually need to do that. It gets to be, this product is extraordinary and I'm one of the greats. If you can connect to that, I'm telling you, this group of entrepreneurs can change the economy, just us. If you recognize that we are the greats, we create a fortified, like, we're good, we're fine, and we bring value to the marketplace. Whether you go here or there, it's fine as long as the money's moving. And I am constantly working on myself so that that doesn't make it mean something about me if you go somewhere else. And I'm making my product as best as possible. So as often as possible, I'm the choice, but I can celebrate me and I can celebrate for you. We transcend the trends. Like, they don't hit us. They don't impact us. It's like being in the one spot where the storm doesn't hit. You create a different bubble that doesn't just rise and fall like everything else rises and falls. So if you are going to be able to sell in any social situation, you've got to understand that you're not just selling right now. And you're not selling necessarily to the person you're speaking to. What has really helped me gain almost like a feeling of omnipresence in my selling identity is that I know that I'm selling always. I'm always available for selling. Someone can buy from me from a replay. Someone can buy from me overnight. Someone can buy from me in the middle of a program. Someone can buy from me once the program is over. Someone can buy from me a program that's not even started yet. Someone can buy my physical products. Someone can buy, I can cash out on an investment. Like, money can come to me always, always. That I'm very clear about. I'm always selling. But when I'm talking to people, I'm not even necessarily committed that the person that's listening to me has to be the buyer. The only thing I care about is that they see the value in what I'm saying and what I offer to the level that I feel it. Because if I can do that, they will think of someone that should listen to me. And I cannot tell you how often this has happened. As a matter of fact, I would chance it and say that over 50% of the people that are here today found me through somebody else sharing my work, where they may not have even bought a thing, but they said, it's not for me, but I see the value in this person and I see the value in what they're saying. So I'm going to share it because I think someone needs to see this and someone needs to hear this. They didn't even need to buy from me, but they saw the value. And because they didn't feel like if they didn't buy from me, they weren't valuable to me, which is how a lot of people make people who don't buy feel. Well, if you're not going to buy, I don't care about you. Because their value was in, if I'm not going to buy, but I at least see the value in this person, I can share. All of a sudden, we've created this extraordinary marketplace where people have found me because it was the right thing for you. Look how many people are saying this is how they found me. This is how people get to find you as well. But not if you're completely attached to, I'm selling to you right now. If you don't buy, there's something wrong with me or there's something wrong with you, which is how most people sell. When you say, I know my value, I know the value of my product, and I know the value of speaking my offer freely, Either it will be for you, either it will be for someone you know, or either I won't have to waste my energy entangling with you, building a story about how I'm not valuable. Either way, we win. I'm speaking about what I offer and what the value is and who it's most valuable for. So why do I love offering masterclasses? And this is good for products. I've helped a lot of people do launches like this in products and with their services. Why I love to do the masterclasses is the masterclass changes it from, I've seen your social media profile. I think that this is valuable for me, and I do the masterclass so I can learn more. On your personal profile, it could just be like, this is interesting. It's not for me, but it's interesting. Usually people won't come to a masterclass or an event of yours if it's not interesting to them, but they'll share it with someone. They'll tell someone else they should go. But like if you're here right now, it's because the topic I'm talking about, the topic I'm selling, it pertains to you. It's valuable to you. That's why you're here. So if you're watching my social media, there's a bunch of people you watch on social media and you would never buy what they do. But it's valuable for you to watch, sometimes just to see the contrast. It's valuable for me to see what I would never do. Or I find it funny, so it's valuable because it's funny, but not because I would buy it. Or I love the marketing, but I would never buy it. But by the time you invest your time, your attention, your energy, your money in something, it's because it's valuable to you. So the best way to sell in this kind of economy is to give value and offer after the value has been given. So the first step is to express the value so that a person who feels like this could be valuable for me, their ears perk up. If it feels like it could be valuable for someone else, they present to the person. If it feels like it's not valuable for them, they move on. Or they're a jerkweed, in which case you need to take care of how that makes you feel because it sucks, but you're going to be fine. Then the next phase of all that is you make an opportunity for people to come and hang out with you and actually learn from you about your product or your service. This is either a free or a paid masterclass, depending. This second opportunity is now an appreciation of value. It's saying this is for me. So I'm going to come because it is for me. Now, it's not just because what you offer is for people that they're going to buy, because there's a difference between this is for me and this is for me right now. There's a difference between I wish I could do this and I'm doing this. There's a difference between I see your value and I see mine. And this is the next really important piece of the sales conversation. When a person does not understand their own value, it doesn't matter how valuable you are and what you offer. If they don't imagine themselves being able to utilize the product, so for example, you're offering personal training sessions, you're the best personal trainer on this side of the ocean, except I don't value my ability. I don't actually believe that I'm capable of doing a fitness plan. I'll say no to you, not because you're not valuable as a trainer, but because I can't do it in my mind. Can you see the difference? If I don't think I can do it, I won't buy it. Not because you're not good, because I'm not. If you're selling a crystal water bottle on the internet and I'm like, but I don't drink water, and I know that this bottle won't make me drink more water, I won't buy it. But if I tell myself, you know what, I've been saying I want to drink more water and I believe that this will be valuable for me because it will make me drink more water, then I'll buy it because I believe in me that I'll drink more water. If I'm selling a program on sales, it's like, I believe that you can sell. I believe in your value. But if I buy this, do I believe that I'm capable of implementing what you taught me and do it? I don't know. I don't know. So you've got to have this secondary strength. The first strength is to trust in your own value and in the value of your industry or your product or your service, the value of all of that. Enough to confidently share what you want to share and who you offer this product or service to with confidence. But the second piece of it is you've got to be able to handle other people's lack of confidence in themselves and their inability to see their own value. So just out of curiosity, who here has ever denied themselves something they know they deserved because they said they didn't really have the money for that, and in the same week turned around and bought something even more expensive for someone else? Who's ever done that? So the thing is, a lot of times it's not the value of a thing. It's, am I allowed to get this for me? Will I do it? What if I mess up? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not good enough? And so in that sense, we go back again to your social media and why it's so important that you're constantly talking about your beliefs, what you stand for, and then like the proof of concepts and the testimonials for your work. Because the more there's evidence that some people succeed at what you have, or they love what you have, the more people can envision themselves doing those things. And so this is the entire sales loop. At first, it's about what people see when they find you, which is the equivalent of that first conversation of what do you do when you meet a stranger at a bar. They should be able to find what do you value and what do the people who buy from you value. And they should be able to find that the people that buy from you achieve this, that, through your testimonials. If you feel guilty of posting testimonials, who here has ever felt guilty of posting a testimonial before? I don't want people to think that I'm just blah, blah, blah. You've got to let go of that because people need evidence that it's possible and they need to find someone that they're like. Like when we were talking about the product before, if I show you how I like to do my makeup and I show you, look, this is good for me, that doesn't mean anything to you if you have an older skin type than me, or a younger skin type than me, or a paler skin type than me, or a more acne prone skin type than me, or if you have a darker skin shade than me, or if you have a different oily skin or dry skin. I need to have other people who've used my product tell you, or else you won't say, that's like me. You've got to use your testimonials because your testimonials are the evidence that different kind of people utilizing your product or your service get what they came for. There's no guilt and shame in that. There's gratitude. What is the value of a testimonial for yourself, for the person who gave it to you, and for the entire industry? But now beyond that, for the economy. We've got to be generous with our love of a product now more than ever. You buy from a flower shop, post it on your social media, thank the flower shop, get the greatest picture you can, tag them and say, you know, these flowers are amazing and the service was amazing if it was. If something is valuable to you, share light on it now more than ever before. If you do that, the companies that need to be seen will get seen, and there's always the law of reciprocity. The more you see value in people, the more people see value in you. I can't tell you how many businesses I've tagged out of sincere gratitude for the value of their things that have turned around and become customers of mine later down the road, who said, oh my gosh, thank you for tagging us, a flower shop, a hotel, a restaurant, and later on hired me for consulting for stuff. It happens all the time. Businesses that support each other go further. So your testimonials, you've got to wash them. And what I mean by that is you've got to just remove any ego that's stuck to them. If you're using the testimonial to prove that you're valuable, that's not the same than using the testimonial to show a person who needs to see a person like them that they can do it too. Those are two energetic frequencies that are two universes apart. You've got to just wash the energetics. That's the only thing. You use a testimonial not to pump yourself up, but to give an opportunity for a person who doesn't see themselves in your marketing to see themselves in your marketing. That's why we use testimonials. If the energy is clear, everything starts to feel different. Okay, so you want, when people fall on your personal page or on your business page, on your social media, that they're able to see what you value, who values you, and what it's done for them to value you and to buy from you. That's super important. The next thing is to invite people to have a discussion about your product where you feel very clear on why you're the one that should be the one leading the discussion and why you're in this business in the first place. If either one of those two things is a struggle for you, those are the things to focus on in this economy, because you've got to be able to express your value as a person, as a business. Both of those things matter times a million right now. This is a value economy. People want to know, how is this worth something for me? If you do not know how to express that, you'll be the last one people choose, not because you're not good enough, not because your product isn't good enough, but because it wasn't expressed. So that's the second part of it. And the next part is to actually feel comfortable asking for the sale and hearing yes or no, or whatever it is that you hear. By the time you've heard yes or no, you are one of the rarest people in this economy, because most people in this economy are not saying anything. People are giving up and they're so afraid of being rejected already that they're doing less of everything. If you found yourself doing less selling, less advertising, less marketing when times are tougher, raise your hand. If you've noticed that you do that, when it's tougher, you do less. This is the problem. It's the people who don't do that who thrive in economies like this. It's normal and natural for us to just want to hold the dignity we have. If my money's going to go down, at least I'm holding my dignity. I'm going down with this ship. We're not doing that. These times need leaders, because the more people are willing to stand and continue to do what they've got to do, the more the ones with courage can breathe and say, if she can do it, I can do it. I could do that. I can do that. You're going to get a lot more business being the leader you are, doing the things most people are afraid to do, how do you get your mind around this? How are you not afraid? How are you doing it? You're going to get a lot more business. You're going to stand out more in this economy, being proud of yourself, your industry, your company, being willing to talk about what you do and not hiding because you're afraid of a no or of rejection. Now, here's the real truth. If you need to work really hard at selling, it's either because you're selling to a person who doesn't see the value in the service you provide. It's either because you're selling to a person who's terrified and doesn't know their value. Or it's either because you only started to care about what you were talking about when it seemed like you were going to lose the sale. And this is a thing we need to think about and contemplate as entrepreneurs, because we tend to value the things we don't have. You'll have people coming and listening, and you'll not be super intentional with how you interact with them until it looks like they're not going to buy. Then all of a sudden you add more. Then you're trying to close. Then you're trying to push. And that's usually when the energy feels pushy and salesy. If you can master this art, the one of knowing that in every economy there are buyers, but the ones that are showing up here the most now are either the ones that are drawn to confidence because they're not being shaken by this industry at all, or this economy at all. So they are going to be drawn to the people who are just as confident as they are. Either the people who have to choose, but they're going to choose what's most valuable to them. And the easiest way to find what's most valuable to them is for the person who experiences themselves as the most valuable person to talk about a valuable product or service, to really be confident in their explanation of that value. You will be the strongest matched for that. And that it comes from a place of absolute knowing that you are going to be okay. That whether this person buys or not, if you have been able to properly express the value in what you offer, when it's time for them to buy, they'll think of you. Or if there's someone else that's going through something, they will immediately think of you, because people want to give referrals to people who value their clients. And if you're able to explain what you do in a way that shows that you listen to your clients, you listen to your customers, when it's time to share someone as a referral, you will be the first one that comes to mind. And if you're not sure this is true, just imagine for a moment that you would hear someone say, so what is it that you do? And you say, I'm a hairstylist, but I work with people who value completely changing their style. So I work with massive transformations in hair. So someone wants to change their life, they come in, we change everything. That's what I do. You might not be in the mood for a change right now, but on the day you are, for sure, you will not forget that person. And on the day where someone's like, you know what, I'm in the mood for a change, you say, I know somebody that literally does this. What was this person's name? You will stand out if you value what your clients value, if you know what your clients value, if you care what they come to you for. And this can change based on what you're selling. If you're a coach or a mentor, you might have different programs. If you have a business that has different products, you might be selling seasonal items. You can change what you're talking about and when in certain videos and posts and things like that. But this is a value economy. It's time for us right now to work on our own value, to become the strongest about ourselves that we have ever been, because not only does it matter more than it ever has, but in contrast to what most people are feeling, it's going to be the greatest investment we can make in ourselves of all time. Because when you invest in seeing value in you, while most people wonder if they're valuable at all, the contrast is even bigger. You stand out even more. It's like, what the heck is this person? Everybody else is scared and silent, and this person's like, whoa, who is this person? This is the greatest time to invest in your self-confidence, your self-value, your understanding of yourself. This is the great time to look at your business model and say, where can I add more value to my clients? If I'm not sure why this is valuable, I really need to look at it, because this needs to be the one thing that I can say so easily. Why is my service valuable? If you can't say that, that's your work. Let me figure out how to talk about what I say, what I do. And if your biggest concern is when they find me, I don't think they actually understand who I serve, and I don't think they know how much I value what my clients need. I don't even know if they know that I'm able to help them. Then it's the visuals and it's the social media and it's the landing that you need to work on. But in this conversation, you've now figured out whether you need to be working on your personal power, on your skills, or on your marketing and advertising. Because the real truth is the greatest way to sell in an economy like this one is to attract a buyer. And the way you attract a buyer is by being everything I just told you today. If you've got to work hard for the sale, that's because you've done everything that I've said and you're pushing. If you attract the right buyer, you've done everything I said and the right person came. And that is the greatest thing that can happen to us. But it comes with the whole picture being taken care of. So what I would suggest as the greatest lesson from this class, and what you can really do for yourself today, is to sit with yourself and really be clear, not from this like, can I really say this about myself? Like, screw that. We're stronger than that. We've got a world to change. Why are you valuable to help people? Like, you have a heart of gold. You care about people. You care about your work. You care about your clients. You're not out here to hurt anybody. You actually want to see people win. That's super valuable. Why this industry? Why did you choose it? Why do you do what you do? Why do you offer what you offer? And if you're not 100% clear on how valuable that is, where can you get more educated on that? Can you read up on it? Are there videos you can watch? How do you get more knowledgeable on why what you do is so important? And if you find it's a communication thing, if you feel like there's inner work to do, then what's your next move? And can you be brave enough to move when most people are paralyzed? And honestly, you do that, you'll never have issues in any economy. And you will be the one that stands out the most in a value-based economy, because this is how you add value to yourself, to your brand, to your industry, and now to the economy. This is a for me, for you, for us, for us. This is a big picture win for everybody, because the more people fear where we are right now, the tougher things are going to get. The more people lead where we are, the more we're going to create our own economy bubble. And I've seen it happen over and over again. And I know there's going to be the people who lead during this time and the people who fear during this time. I'd love that we choose that we're the leaders of this time, just because we get to. Like, we're here, we might as well create something different that people can have faith in, because that's going to be a much more fun time, I think, for the next foreseeable future. So on this note, do the coursework. I will say, like, these conversations I have with my clients, they're so powerful. But if this is the only time you've listened to it and then you tune me off and you go do other things and you never think about it again, it's going to be worth a fraction of what it's worth if you actually lead yourself with the homework. If you value yourself and this call and your business, do the homework. It's going to change your world. And if there's any way that I can assist you in any way, I will say the one program right now that's blowing my freaking mind is the currency program. The conversations we're having in there are out of this world. I had wondered if I was going to make it a 10K program for a small group of people, or if I was going to turn that into my invisible offer. And I'm telling you, the testimonials I've gotten from this thing are out of this world. Because you're in We Are Alpha Femme, you get $111 off of it, which means it's just $1,000 if you want to come. We're already partway through, so you're going to get to catch up. But in personal value, we're going to skyrocket your confidence in personal value, and it's going to feel so much easier to apply everything I've just talked about today. This one is phenomenal. If you're like, I've already got the personal value thing, I think I just need to work on my social media. I don't think when people are landing on my page, I don't think they're getting what they need to see. Impact Academy is starting on September 14th. And this round of it, I am customizing to the way the world is right now. I'm going to help you create the most value with your social media that you've ever seen, so you could rock an entire business using social media only if you wanted. It's going to be absolutely extraordinary. These are the two places that I would really recommend looking at right now. If you're able to make a move in a direction of some sort, these are the two places. This group, this We Are Alpha Femme group, it's going to be packed with so much value. I'm going to be bringing stuff all the time. If you're able to stay constant in this place, there's so much value. In the guides section, you're going to find E3 Masterclass, Women Masterclass, Trademark Masterclass, Renaissance Masterclass. So leadership, social media, personal confidence and manifestation. Like, there's really great material for you to dive into. If you can focus on value as yourself as a person and your business, on your clients, on your customers, if that's what you focus on during this point in time, you will rise above everything else. You will stand out more than everything else, because people are afraid. And when they're afraid, they paralyze, or they fight with people, or they give up. They fight, they freeze, they freak out. Like, the people who stay grounded, mature, and work on themselves, when things turn around again, they're at the top every single time. This is like, history has shown this so many times. Don't lose faith. Please don't be self-deprecating in any way during this season. If anything's hard for you, it's hard for a lot of people. You would be special if it wasn't hard. It's not like if it's hard for you, you're not special. It's the other way. So be kind to yourself. Do what's right for you, for yourself, for your business, for your family. Like, really value your experience of this time in your entrepreneur journey, because this is one of the most valuable times in the history of your career, is your ability to navigate a storm. If things are hard, that's life. Then what? You've got this. Thank you for being in my world. I look forward to the next month with you in here in We Are Alpha Femme. If there's an opportunity for you to jump into currency, I'm telling you, it's worth more. It makes no sense. Like, I'm giving everything in there, and it is a masterpiece. This program, it's going to rock your soul. It's so good. If there's a chance for you to come in, you're not going to regret this. I'm telling you, you're going to watch the first call and you'll be like, what the heck? I've been working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes this last year. It's all coming out now when we most need it. It's perfect. It's time. I'm so excited, Raluca. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. You are a badass. You are a boss. You are a goddess. You have got this. No matter what is happening around you, you're the one. Don't lose faith. Keep being strong. Enjoy yourself. These are good times. And in hindsight, you'll be grateful for them, because there's value in hard times, no matter what is happening. And if you're thriving during these times, celebrate double so everyone can be inspired. I want to see all your celebrations. If you're rocking it right now, shout it from the rooftops. We love that. Thank you for being here. And I'll see the ones of you in currency in about 20 minutes. Bye.
This will be the network to be in for conscious female entrepreneurs.